Hey, this is Matt. Once again, welcome back to the video. There's another paid request, this time from Masi. Thank you so much for that. And for those interested in requesting any type of videos or topics, reactions, commentaries, reviews, re-reviews, what have you, feel free to send it either directly to my PayPal or join my Patreon. Both links are down below in the info box. PayPal is usually the best bet. And this is for the 1988 film Mississippi Burning, which this film, when it came out, I believe it got a nomination for Best Picture. I think it got some other nominations. I don't know if it won anything. If not, that's too bad because it's a damn good movie. It's directed by Alan Parker. He did the Mickey Rourke, Robert De Niro film Angel Heart. He also did Pink Floyd's The Wall. And it's based loosely on the 1964 incident where there was these three civil rights workers who went missing and you found out that they were killed. I say loosely because that stuff did happen, but at the same time some new characters like some of the FBI agents are added in. But like I said, everything that's based on a true story, you always gotta take it loosely. I don't know there's much that are that, quote, factual. But you work around it to hopefully make a good film, or an entertaining film, or an impactful film. One of the big assets to this movie is the cast. You got Gene Hackman, who I think is one of the best actors we've ever had. Huge Gene Hackman fan. Uncommon Valor, Superman the movie, Unforgiven, even in the hell, even films like The Replacements, he just makes films shine. And he is teamed up with Willem Dafoe. This is around the time that he had done Platoon and The Last Temptation of Christ. As two FBI agents, Willem Dafoe is more by the book. Even though he's younger, he has more authority. But they don't treat him as a weak character either. Yeah, yes, he's by the book. Yes, he's got glasses on, so he seems like a nerdy guy. But he's as tough as Gene Hackman. It's just they have different ways of doing things. And I agree with some of the critics, like Sister and Ebert mentioned this, that I like when this trope happens, but it didn't need to happen in this where, well, now one's going to fall to the other side, meaning one's going to realize his way's not doing it, so automatically now he's going to be following the other guy and be the sidekick. No, neither one felt like a sidekick. They felt like they were on their individual terms and equals in this. And Gene Hackman and Willem Dafoe work well together. Two damn good actors. But then you also have Brad Dourif, Michael Rooker, Arlie Ermey from Full Metal Jacket, Frances McDormand, who will later be in films like Fargo, Tobin Bell, later in the Saw films. He has a small role in this. I think the kid who was the older son in Family Matters, I think he's in this, although much younger. In this, he's a kid. I think he's the one who was the guy who was Eddie was his name in Family Matters. I can't remember. Eddie Winslow. Yeah, so I have Dealid Sartain, who I remember from the Ernest movies. If you ever seen if you ever seen Ernest Saves Christmas or Ernest Goes to Jail, you know you'd have those two guys. You have the bigger guy, and then you have the smaller guy named Bobby. Dealid Sartain was the bigger guy. He was also a villain in the Steven Seagal film The Patriot. He's in this as the sheriff. Brad Dourif is the deputy. Michael Rooker is one of the guys who knows Brad and Sartain. Arlie Ermey is the mayor. Frances McDormand is Brad Dourif's wife, who you tell she's a bit of a battered person. Tobin Bell is one of the FBI agents we see much later helping Gene Hackman on certain stuff. And like I said, these three civil rights workers, we find out fairly early on that they've been killed but they've gone missing, and now the FBI is in to figure out what's going on. Of course, they ask questions. They get the runaround from all these people. And what made the film work was, again, the actors and their commitment to it, and just rooting for these guys against these frankly evil sons of bitches. And really bought into these characters that Gene and Willem Dafoe played. Whether it be Gene Hackman's story about his father and this bad thing that his father had done, because, as he puts it, he didn't realize that being poor is what was killing him. The way Gene Hackman, he used to live in Mississippi, and he kind of plays with this group of people like he's being, seemingly fun and generous and laughing, but at the same time you see something behind his eyes that he looks down on these idiotic folks. Hey, baseball, man, I love the sport. It's probably the only time where a black man with a stick is waving it at a white guy, and it doesn't start a riot. Like the stuff he's poking holes at these guys, which I appreciate, because Gene Hackman is definitely a guy you want on your side. And then you have this bit of, thankfully they didn't go too lovey-dovey on it, but this kind of friendship thing between Gene and Frances McDormand, where he's just being nice to her, giving her flowers, realizing that she's with this piece of shit played by Brad Dourif. And just how Gene Hackman doesn't take shit. Like Michael Rooker, who's a very intense guy, is saying all these horrible things to him. And then Gene just grabs him by the balls and goes, "You get this straight, shit kicker." And just the way he just goes off on it. Even when he first enters and like Brad Dourif is like, "Oh, the sheriff ain't in. Maybe you should come back later." And Willem Dafoe does his thing. We'll just wait and sit down. And then Gene Hackman comes up and looks at Brad and goes, "You better listen to me, you backward shit ass. You better get your sheriff out here in 2 seconds. I'm gonna get the goddamn door in." And he's doing like a smile on his face. And as this investigation is going on, I will say there's a part of me that really the only issue I had is the middle portion. It felt like just kind of going in circles, where they talk to someone, they don't want to talk to them, and then somebody else gets hurt or somebody's place gets burnt down. They try to talk to someone, they don't know what to do. Gene talks to Fred McDormand, a place gets burnt down, or a church gets burnt down, or something else gets burnt up, or someone's just chased. I didn't feel like this kind of circular thing that, I wouldn't say got redundant, but it's kind of like, okay, to this movie kind of get into a different gear now. So I don't know if that needed to be a little bit of editing or a little bit of, because I mean, if they don't add characters in, that means they could be open to doing other stuff that might not have exactly happened back then. So the middle portion kind of, like I said, got a little bit redundant, but the cast kept it going. But by the time you get to kind of the third act of the film, I thought it got back on track when finally Gene and Willem Dafoe are kind of have this plan, and Gene goes, "Let's do it my way, but my people." And like I said, I do like that Willem Dafoe is not a weakling. Like, there's a bit where they get in a fight, and Willem Dafoe wins, and he puts a gun on him. "Well, you think you're going to shoot me? You damn straight I will," And even Gene asked someone, "Do you think he was going to shoot me?" "Yes." Tough son of a bitch. I do like the plan that happens, again, spoilers, where they get some people like Tobin Bell Like they hire this one guy, and I recognize this guy. He was in this X-Files episode called The List. There's a guy named Nietzsche, and he's a guy that kidnaps Arlie Ermy, the mayor, and threatens to castrate him. So Arlie Ermy says some. Gives a bit of a testimony as to what had happened, and then you kind of find out that that was an agent that Gene Hackman brought in to pretend to be this guy and get some info out. Or they're messing around with these people and they find out who's the nervous guy. It's a guy named Pruitt Taylor Vance. I know I've seen this guy in movies. He's the guy, if you've seen the 1990 Jacob's Ladder, he's the guy that bends down. No, he's the guy that gets in the car when Jacob Senior Tim Robbins gets the coin and it moves and he turns and the guy in the car, he blows up. He's been in a lot of other stuff too. I think he's an Identity. I think he's the guy that in Identity them kind of his eye kind of goes one way, it seems. They see that he's a bit nervous, so they're fucked with him. They even, spoiler, pretend a lynching where they're shooting at him and ready to hang him, and then Gene and Willem Dafoe save him, but you kind of find out that the people trying to lynch him are actually other FBI agents, just to scare the guy. They go, hey, looks like your buddies are trying to kill you, so what you gonna do, man? I also like the scene where he beats the shit out of Brad Dourif's character, because Brad at that point had beaten up his wife and Frances McDormand's in the hospital, and Gene gets pissed, and you don't want to piss off Gene Hackman. You really don't want to piss him off, so he goes to a barber shop. He's like shaving him, and he, oops, sorry about that. It's been a while since I've done this, and cuts him a bit. Just completely beats the shit out of him. You have a stupid smile. Huh? Did you have the stupid smile when you had the boy's body being bulldozed to be buried, huh? Do you have the stupid smile there? It just, the way you just throw it, just... I'm a big Gene Hackman fan. That helped a lot in my enjoyment in this. And he had a lot of good support. It is an important story, a tough story to watch. Story that some could say sadly is prevalent today. And I realize as I'm doing this, it's getting darker, but maybe it actually fits with the mood of this film, so I'll leave it in. I swear it was brighter when I started this review, now it's a bit darker, but again, maybe it fits with the tone of this movie. Maybe, I would think that maybe there'd be, if you're looking more for escapism entertainment, this isn't it. You're not going to have Gene Hackman and Willem Dafoe having a firefight with Ku Klux Klan members or fist fights with them. Although I would like to have seen that, I will be honest. It's trying to be more of, yes, there's stuff that are added in, but it's still trying to, I don't want to say, maybe be more realistic how you want to put it, instead of being very, like I say, it's not going for, it's going more for realism, escapism. So, if you're expecting a lot of action or things of that nature, that's not the case. But I say, I like the bits with Gene Hackman and Frances McDormand because they seem very sweet in nature, but they didn't go into the typical, now they kiss and they're going to have sex and all this other stuff. It just seemed like a very nice, sweet little friendly thing. A kiss and a wink. Like, kiss on the hand and a wink. So it's not too cliche driven. Gives an important note about racism by taking it seriously and not trying to be just, this is how you do it in this type of movie. Not in fucking, these Black Panther, some of these superhero films, they're trying to force it in there and it's clunky as hell. That's what I mean. If you want a story about that, Mississippi Burning is a film to do it. with a very capable cast, taking it very seriously, that really make you feel what's going on, make you really hate the villains. You see how the FBI is like doing the best they can, but at the same time, it feels like even then they're still somewhat powerless because of where they're at. And competently directed by Alan Parker. Overall, like I said, if you like the cast, it's easily worth a look. It's a pretty damn good movie. And Gene Hackman rocks in it. I liked him quite a bit in it. And his Mississippi accent wasn't too over the top, wasn't too ridiculous. It fit with the character. And overall, well worth a look. So with that said, thanks for watching. Take care. We'll see you guys later. Bye-bye.